Poltergeist. Scary movie about the Freeling family getting terrorized by evil supernatural forces in their otherwise idyllic home. Released in 1982, Poltergeist tells the story of little Carol Ann, whom gets kidnapped by sinister ghouls, whom kidnap her via her bedroom closet, taking her into another dimension, in which her desperate parents can only hear her voice via a static TV channel. Directed by Tobe Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg, Poltergeist was the highest-grossing horror movie of 1982, and tapped into a newfound fear of the economical Reagan era, that our modern-day suburbia lifestyles may hide many dark secrets of the past. And even to this day, Poltergeist is the only movie to feature a giant orange closet vagina. So today, let's celebrate this classic scary horror movie about the American dream and lifestyle gone wrong by completely forgetting about the modern 2015 remake and looking into 10 amazing facts about this amazing movie. So let's stay out the kitchen and turn off the TV as we explore this classic horror movie, Poltergeist.
They're here.
Number 10. Poltergeist's Origins. Writer and producer Steven Spielberg had been working on Poltergeist for several years before the movie went into production. Originally, the movie was about sinister forces invading a family home and was called Night Skies, in which evil aliens invade the family's house. But over the years, the story changed from aliens to ghosts, and alas, Poltergeist. Although famed author Richard Matheson claims that the story of Poltergeist draws heavily on an episode of The Twilight Zone that he wrote, called Little Girl Lost, which aired in 1962, 20 years before Poltergeist. It tells the story of a young girl who gets lost in another dimension that she stumbles into through her bedroom wall, where just like Poltergeist, her desperate parents must cross into the dimension to get their little girl back. So what do you guys think? Coincidence, or did Spielberg intentionally or unintentionally rip off the little girl Lost? Number 9. Director disputes. Yeah, this is something that seems to be common knowledge with this movie, but it's still worth mentioning, as over the years there have been many disputes as to who actually directed the movie, as many people claim that although Tobe Hooper is credited as the director, Spielberg was the movie's true director. In fact, even members of the cast have spoken up and claimed that Spielberg was more of a director in the movie. And many movie fans claim that Poltergeist completely has Spielberg's look and feel. Spielberg originally wanted to direct the movie, but at the same time he was directing E.T. the Extraterrestrial. So due to some legal clause, he wasn't allowed to direct another movie while directing E.T. So he brought in Texas Chainsaw Massacre director Tobe Hooper. So who do I think was the true mastermind behind Poltergeist out of Hooper and Spielberg? Well, to be honest, I think both. I feel like the movie has both their styles. It has Spielberg's modern suburbia feel about it, along with Spielberg-esque fantasy tropes. And in addition to that, it also has Hooper's love for gross-out shock tactics. Heck, the movie even has 2 intros, one that I like to think is a sinister, foreboding Hooper intro, and a more softer, calmer, idyllic Spielberg intro. Number 8. Awkward jump cut. In the first half of the movie, there is a scene where the Freeling family are starting to learn of the strange supernatural occurrences in their family home. While Diane Freeling is showing her husband Steve Freeling the odd phenomena of moving chairs in the kitchen, the movie then has this really sudden, really awkward jump cut, which is strange for a Spielberg-related movie, which are usually of top-notch quality and don't feature such odd sudden edits.
Except that you can breathe.
and you're getting pulled along in the...
Oh. Hi, Ben.
Oh, I missed your turn.
Well, this is because a line of dialogue had to be cut. You see, in the scene in question, when little Carol Ann says she's hungry, Diane Freeling says we'll go to Pizza Hut. Where a shocked and startled Steve Freeling then says, I hate Pizza Hut. Well, Pizza Hut took exception to this and were not impressed. So in order to appease the pizza franchise giants, the dialogue was swiftly cut from the movie.
And you're getting pulled along in the...
Oh. Hi, Ben.
Oh, I missed your turn.
Once again, leaving a very awkward jump cut. I guess they just couldn't get the actors back to reshoot the scene? But cutting from one scene to another while a character is in mid-conversation is really weird. Number 7. The Shining connection. In the scene where Carol Ann approaches the static TV when the ghost hand comes out, people have noticed that the time displayed on the TV is 2:37. And many have claimed that this is paying homage to room 237 in The Shining, which came out 2 years earlier. So, was Spielberg putting in a subtle nod to his mate Stanley Kubrick's film? But you see, here's the thing. Whether intentional or not, in both scenes in both movies, the number 237 represents a child who is in danger of sinister supernatural forces. Now there's something to think about. And if you think all this sounds silly, keep this in mind. In the end scene where the whole street gets attacked, who should turn up? Well, none other than Jack Torrance himself, where we see a yellow car just like the one that Jack drives in get flipped over. Number 6. Spielberg's hands make a cameo. One of the most shocking scenes in the movie involves a helpless paranormal investigator called Marty, who decides to help himself to the Freelings' food in their kitchen in the middle of the night. Okay, seriously, what's up with that? Where the ghosts decide to mess with his head, causing some pretty sinister hallucinations. One of them being him looking into the mirror where he proceeds to rip his face off. Well, the hands used for this scene belong to none other than Spielberg himself, as pictures have come to light of Spielberg ripping the gooey flesh off the Marty puppet. Number 5. Drew Barrymore auditioned for the role of Carol Ann. As mentioned, Spielberg made Poltergeist at the same time he made E.T. In fact, the films are kind of similar, with similar themes about miscommunication in the modern family. I guess you could say that Poltergeist is E.T.'s evil twin, and both movies look as though they were filmed in the same neighbourhood. In fact, I like to think both movies take place in the same universe, as mentioned in my Gremlins video, the Spielbergverse. Well, little Drew Barrymore, who played Gertie in E.T., originally auditioned for the role of Carol Ann, but Spielberg thought she would be much more fitting for the part of Gertie. In fact, Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, didn't even originally audition, but her sister did. And she just so happened to catch Spielberg's eye when he saw her eating in the MGM studio canteen. There are pics of the kids from both E.T. and Poltergeist hanging out. Number 4. The Beast was always meant to be a creepy old man. Nearing Poltergeist's climax, we learn that the main spirit behind Carol Ann's kidnapping is an evil entity, simply called the Beast. And the only time we get a really good look at this beast is when a giant skull head pops out of the wardrobe as the Freeling parents try to get their daughter back. However, cut to Poltergeist 2, and we learn that the beast is in fact a super creepy old preacher called Henry Kane, who for some reason likes to sing about God being in a holy temple or something like that.
God is in his holy
Yeah, just look at that guy!
earthly fall, be silent now.
You don't mess with that shit! However, it seems that it was always the plan that Carol Ann's evil kidnapper was that of the spirit of an old man, as going back to the giant skull scene in the closet, In this test picture, you can see that at one stage it wasn't going to be a giant skull head popping out of the closet, but in fact the giant ghost head of an old man. And to be honest, I actually find this more creepier than the weird looking skull head. Number 3. Deleted scenes. One of the most terrifying elements of the movie Poltergeist is little Robbie Freeling's clown doll. Okay, seriously, what cruel and sick parents would buy this evil as hell looking doll for their kid? Later in the movie, the doll comes to life and tries to strangle Robbie, while dragging him under the bed and no doubt telling him they all float. Well, a story that has been circulating through the internet for a few years now explains that there was actually a deleted scene, where at the start of the movie, Robbie has a birthday party where he takes part in a treasure hunt, where he explores the house to find his birthday presents that his parents have hidden for him, where he sees the sinister clown, which comes to life and bites him. Yeah, as if the clown doll wasn't terrifying enough, he also bites too. Thanks a lot, guys! It's never been clear if this birthday party scene was filmed or if it was just in the early days of the script. But one scene that was filmed and then refilmed and drastically changed is the scene where we see Diane Freeling get attacked and dragged up her bedroom wall and ceiling. Originally, that scene was filmed with weird tentacles coming out of the wall and attacking her. And although the idea of one ceiling growing tentacles is a scary and ambitious idea, going by the pictures, I just don't think the effect looked right. And if the finished product has anything to go by, sometimes less is more. Number 2. Real skeletons were used. According to actress JoBeth Williams, in the scene where the skeletons rise from the muddy dug-up swimming pool, they were in fact real skeletons, despite her thinking at the time that they were prop skeletons made out of rubber. Which kind of makes the making of Poltergeist that bit more sinister and ghoulish. Since Williams' statement, more members of the crew have come forward and have spoken of the scene and have indeed concurred that real skeletons were used, as using real skeletons was cheaper than making fake ones. Neither Hooper or Spielberg have come forward about these shocking claims, so until that happens, we don't know if it's true or if it's just rumour. But if real skeletons were used, I would imagine the production company would have had to have used skeletons that people would have donated to art purposes on the accounts of their deaths. Unless Spielberg and Hooper went grave digging in the middle of the night, which I find unlikely. The popular belief that real skeletons were used have left many people thinking that the Poltergeist movies are cursed, hence the last entry in this list. Number 1. The Poltergeist Curse. Over the years, many members of the cast and crew of the 3 Poltergeist movies have met with ill fates, including Dominic Dunne, who played teenage daughter Dana Freeling. Shortly after the release of the original Poltergeist, she was murdered by her ex-boyfriend in a shocking incident. While making Poltergeist 2, actor Julian Beck, who played Kane, died of stomach cancer. And shortly after filming wrapped up for the sequel, actor Will Sampson died of liver failure. But the most tragic of all is Heather O'Rourke, who passed away while filming Poltergeist 3 at just 12 years old, due to cardiac arrest brought on by septic shock. And even in recent years, more and more members of the cast and crew of these 3 films seem to be dropping off like flies, which is what has started the urban legend of the Poltergeist curse. A curse brought on by the disrespectful use of real skeletons in the first movie. There are even stories that on the set of Poltergeist 2, Native American actor Will Sampson performed a cleansing ritual to try and heal the angry spirits off the set. However, not everyone is on board with the curse, including Oliver Robbins, who played Robbie, who said, quote, unquote, "To be completely honest, I don't think that anyone that was involved in the movie ever really took the curse seriously. There is no curse. It is just tragic coincidences." Well guys, that was my list of amazing facts about Poltergeist. Although there does seem to be controversy and tragedy surrounding this movie, it is still a classic. And one that even to this day still scares the you-know-what out of me. So let's not let the negativity ruin a classic film. Anyway, I'm Minty, and if you're a housing developer and you relocate a cemetery, don't just move the headstones. Otherwise, you're going to get shit like this happening. See ya.